Well, thank you so much for that introduction. Yes, so Untold Research does research on a variety of topics around the world, and this particular study was definitely a departure from what we normally do, not in topic, but in methodology.
I'm
So,
sorry, Kate. Is there
yes.
any way to close your color wheel on the screen?
Oh, it's not appearing on mine. Let me. Sorry. Oh no, that's the opposite of what you wanted. All right. Is that better?
Perfect. Thank you so much.
No, thank you for pointing that out. Um, so yeah, not a departure in topic, but a departure in the methodology. We are exceptionally rigorous when it comes to doing nationally representative studies, um, and making sure our focus groups are balanced for gender and age and all things like that. This is unique because we had a unique opportunity fall into our laps. One of our data collection agencies in India, in a generous effort to help researchers all over the world understand this new COVID world that we're all living in, offered to make their panel available to us free of charge to study anything that, as long as it was related to COVID. And our personal passion is around women's rights to reproductive and sexual health services. And so I decided to do this study. Untold did it pro bono, free of charge, to understand the access that women had to reproductive rights and health services under COVID. So with any kind of panel, there's certainly a number of caveats and implications. So it's a non-probabilistic online survey. And because of that, it certainly skews higher income. So no one in the study earned less than $400 a month. And the average monthly income in India is about $437. So we're really looking at the wealthiest 50% of India. We only spoke with women. It just so happened that they all completed secondary school, so certainly more educated than your average individual. And due to sampling of internet access and technology, they're more likely to live in urban areas as opposed to the rural areas of India. So take all of that with a grain of salt. I certainly understand it's not as rigorous as the other presentations, but I think there's some value and some interesting takeaways here. So just starting broadly, we asked, which have you experienced during COVID? And you see 77%, 3/4 fear for the future. And you can see depression, anxiety, all much, much lower. When it comes to financial impact, and again, this is the 50% ballpark wealthiest people in India. And you're seeing 4 out of 5 of them saying it's having a moderate or large impact on their family's finances. So I wanted to start broadly and then get into the more reproductive rights access pieces here. So 47% of women could not get access to a sanitary napkin or any other kind of menstrual health support, which is tremendous. You can see from their emergency contraception, regular contraception, pregnancy testing kits, and pregnancy termination. And this isn't just whether or not you knew where to find it. This is women who reported needing these services and support and not being able to get them. So that 7% of, like I said, 2,700 women unable to terminate a pregnancy is profound. And here you can see some of the leading reasons. So unable to get somewhere due to lack of transportation. India was really proactive, really quick on shutting down their public transportation system, both rail and buses. But understandably, that presents a tremendous challenge when you're trying to get some vital services and support. Couldn't leave a containment zone, didn't even try to access some of the services needed because they were afraid of contracting COVID themselves. Healthcare facilities were closed to anything but COVID care. We heard a lot of that. And also being told that you had to get a positive COVID test, a negative COVID test before you could even try to approach a clinic for some non-COVID related issue. So plurality of reasons, all a little bit different for each different service and product. But as you can imagine, when you have limited access to contraception, that has a profound impact on pregnancy rates. So more than 2 in 5 women admitted to engaging in sex without any kind of contraception, expressly because of COVID, because they couldn't get access. So what did that result in? that resulted in 38% of women who needed a contraception, engaging in sex, becoming pregnant. That's a lot of women who, if COVID hadn't happened, they would not have become pregnant. They're all unplanned pregnancies. I'm seeing roughly, that 47%, one half did not conceive, and 16% are still waiting to find out. And in large part of that is due to the lack of access to pregnancy testing kits. So still, the big important number here is that 2 in 5 women, they did not plan on becoming pregnant. They did not want to become pregnant. But because of COVID and the restricted access to contraception and other needed services, they found themselves pregnant. So what did these women do with their unplanned pregnancies? These are the women who wanted to terminate but could not find, or wanted to terminate, but so what did they do? Well, 43%, 2 in 5, found other means to terminate. And I mean, it goes without saying that those were not safe, hygienic conditions or decisions. In India and many other countries, terminating outside of the healthcare system often involves inserting things to try and terminate, ingesting poisons or natural concoctions. It's regardless, outside of the health service, arena, it's incredibly dangerous. But that's what 2 in 5 women did. And that's of women who took this survey. So, thinking about extrapolating that greater, the impact is tremendous. Another 1 in 5 are still continuing to try to terminate, whether that means they're going to wait and see if a clinic becomes available and open for them, or continue to find other, taking measures into their own hands. 1/3 are carrying to term. So again, these are women that pre-COVID most likely had no plans on starting their family right now, but because they didn't have the proper access because of COVID, we're now looking at 1/3 of women in India are now soon to be mothers when they did not want to be. So again, there's some serious limitations to doing this research via a panel, but I think it provides a nice snapshot of what the 50%, the wealthiest 50% of women in India went through. And so what does that mean if you extrapolate these findings to that top 50%, the top 50% of earners of women throughout India? That means that during COVID, 6,000 women became pregnant when they didn't want to be and terminated themselves. Again, all through some very, very unsafe means. That means that 3,000 women are pregnant now and they don't want to be, and they're still trying to figure out their options. And that means that 5,000 women throughout India, again, just in that top 50% of earners, are now mothers. And they didn't plan on it, they don't want to be, and this is all because they weren't given access because sexual reproductive rights and health services aren't usually deemed essential in a lot of these lower income countries. So it's the importance of making sure that SRHR support is available regardless of conditions, because we're now having 5,000 women who weren't ready to be mothers are now mothers. 6,000 could have died during the unsafe procedures that they underwent. So it's a really, really important service that is often overlooked. So that is the end of my presentation. We made all of the findings into a number of small 1- and 2-pagers. They're all available for free on our website, www.untoldresearch.com. I encourage everybody to go and check them out. And I'm still developing. We worked with a number of local organizations. I had listening meetings and strategy calls with 10 or 12 different local agencies in India to make sure that this research was really filling the need that they had on the ground. And so I'm still, as you can imagine, there's a wealth of information that we gathered through this study. So I'm still working through developing those 1-pagers, but I think we have 3 of them up right now. So I invite everyone to go check it out.